Are talented, some people are dedicated to the sport, they're not consistent. Or I think the biggest factor is they're not confident in themselves, or they just ain't mentally prepared to be.
Moses Itauma lights the fire with a savage reality check that slices through the hype swirling around both Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. Itauma doesn't mince words. To him, Usyk is nothing more than a slick illusionist, an elusive mover, and a trickster who dances around danger but lacks the grit, bite, and heavyweight heart of a true king. Itauma isn't impressed by Usyk's resume or his flashy footwork. In his eyes, Usyk is built on smoke and mirrors, carefully orchestrating victories.
I feel he knows, and he's grown in confidence since that. I mean, he's in a great place, Dubois, and he can win that fight. He's a big, natural heavyweight.
Through movement and deception, rather than genuine championship grit. But Itauma doesn't stop there. He unleashes just as harsh a critique on Dubois, tearing into his reputation as a so-called power puncher. According to Itauma, Dubois' raw power is just a thinly veiled mask covering a fragile mental makeup and questionable ring IQ. Itauma paints Dubois as mentally weak, emotionally brittle, and lacking the instincts to survive at the elite level. His final verdict? Neither of these men is ready for the real war zone that is heavyweight boxing's top tier. Both, he says,
he's a good fighter. He's a hard fighter to beat. And I think he'll learn from the mistakes he made in the first fight against Usyk, and it will give him a hard fight. Look, he has the tools to win.
Are overhyped, overprotected pretenders destined to fold when real pressure explodes. On the flip side, Mark Tibbs offers a completely different story, going all in on Dubois. Tibbs believes Daniel Dubois has undergone a full-blown transformation. To Tibbs, this isn't the same fighter who mentally unraveled against Joe Joyce, or who folded under Usyk's relentless assault the first time around. Tibbs compares Dubois to a young Tyson, a dangerous, natural-born heavyweight wrecking ball who's matured both mentally.
There's a problem. Alexander Usyk is the best fighter in boxing, period. Of this generation, what he's done at cruiserweight, what he's done at heavyweight, what he's done to all the other British fighters, to do the double over AJ, the double over...
and physically. According to Tibbs, Dubois is now oozing with self-belief and carrying the kind of destructive power that could turn any fight in a split second. However, Tibbs's hype comes with a risky gamble. He's banking on Dubois' size and raw aggression rather than polished technique or elite ring IQ. He's hoping that raw emotion and physicality can outmuscle Usyk's refined skill set. But let's be real, Alexander Usyk isn't just any opponent. He's a cerebral assassin, one of the most technically gifted fighters in the modern era. Even if Dubois is in the best shape of his life, this still feels like an uphill battle against a master strategist. Amir Khan joins the Dubois hype train, gassing him up with talk of redemption and respect.
Now is a different machine.
Self-confidence will be...
And time waits for no man, as the saying goes. I just think that this is a fight it's exciting. It's a good fight. You've got to make Usyk the favourite, but it's a fight that Daniel Dubois can definitely...
Resurgence. Khan insists that Dubois is reborn, mentally tougher, physically stronger, and fueled by the nightmare of his previous loss to Usyk. Khan calls Dubois a beast with vengeance in his eyes, ready to rewrite his story and shock the world. But while the narrative of redemption sounds appealing, reality paints a bleaker picture. Dubois isn't just facing a talented boxer. He's stepping into the ring with a grandmaster of boxing chess. Usyk breaks opponents not just physically but mentally. His ring IQ, timing, footwork, and strategic execution.
Usyk, in your opinion, can't cope with that?
No one can. No one can. No one can. We'll bring our game. Like I said, Daniel has now spent, by the time this fight comes around, he would have spent 2 years, exactly 2 years with this coverage.
Leave little room for error. Dubois' biggest flaw remains his limited fight intelligence under pressure, and that's exactly the weakness Usyk exploits with surgical efficiency. As Itauma brutally warns, this isn't a comeback story, it's a setup. Usyk's precision, timing, and calculated cruelty could turn this fight into a public execution. Adam Smith erupts with his own fiery verdict, declaring Alexander Usyk the unstoppable king of this generation. From dominating at cruiserweight to systematically dismantling heavyweight giants, Usyk's rise has been nothing short of historic. Smith highlights how Usyk clinically exposed and outclassed Anthony Joshua twice. These weren't lucky wins, they were technical masterclasses, but Smith
is a chance for Daniel Dubois to go down in British sporting folklore and to go and do the business.
Frank Warren doubles down on the belief that July 19th
takes it even further. He says if Usyk beats Tyson Fury next, it's game over for any debate. Usyk will go down as the greatest fighter of this era, full stop. According to Smith, Usyk's genius lies in his ability to control every second of a fight: movement, timing, distance, and psychological warfare. Duke McKenzie echoes Smith's sentiments, describing Usyk as a generational phenomenon tearing through history in real time. McKenzie paints a chilling picture. While most heavyweights throw bombs and rely on brute strength, Usyk writes masterpieces.
He's a class act, a mature individual because he's older and wiser, comes from a completely different background. But Daniel Dubois is growing into himself. This will be one hell of a fight. This will be a proper fight, like all of the Usyk fights have been.
Flawless, strategic, and merciless. The division is left chasing a ghost, a fighter light years ahead in skill, discipline, and mental strength. Meanwhile, Carl Froch tries to rally hope for Dubois, framing him as a reborn warrior, ready to unleash chaos. Froch talks about Dubois' new mindset and sharper focus, suggesting that maybe, just maybe, he could pull off the unthinkable. But Froch's tone betrays the underlying truth. Even with all the positive spin, Froch knows the mountain Dubois has to climb. Deep down, he admits it's still Usyk's fight to lose. Froch's praise feels more like false hope, a motivational speech given with a heavy...
I'll give Dubois a shot in that fight. It's a good time. I mean, a little bit of inactivity because of the fight falling through against Joseph Parker, but, you know, it's exciting. And I think definitely a fight he could...
Heavy heart. The contradictions in his words are obvious. Yes, Dubois has improved, but he's going up against a master technician who dismantles elite-level fighters with cold, calculated precision. Froch knows the reality. This is less a 50-50 fight and more an exercise in damage control for Dubois. Don Charles, Dubois' trainer, explodes with passionate belief, insisting Usyk won't survive the version of Dubois that's coming on July 19th. Charles speaks about 2 years of relentless training, describing Dubois as a completely evolved monster, stronger, smarter, and far more dangerous than ever before. But for every ounce of Charles's enthusiasm, there's a counterbalance of reality. Usyk has...
On Daniel Dubois against Alexander Usyk, realistically, has he got any chance? We've got 30 seconds.
Of course he has. Look, it's a tough ask, of course. You know, the thing with Usyk is he doesn't depend on his power to knock you out. He depends on his skill. That's why it's a tough ask, because he's going to box rings around you if you let him. Dubois, good luck. Don Charles, good luck. Great British boxing, good luck. We potentially might have a heavyweight championship back on our soil.
Been through firestorms before. He's faced bigger punchers, stronger men, and fighters with supposedly better knockout power. Time and time again, Usyk remains the ice-cold assassin, dismantling power punchers with surgical calm. Dubois may come charging in, but Usyk is built to break egos and expose weaknesses. Don Charles may scream confidence, but Usyk's track record screams louder. The real question isn't whether Dubois is ready, it's whether Usyk will even need to leave second gear. Frank Warren, Dubois' promoter, is betting big. To Warren, July 19th isn't just a fight.
During Usyk press conference, he's not going to start flipping tables and kicking off and this, that and the other. He's going to play a few little games and mind games and that. But aside from that, pretty chill and relaxed.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime golden ticket for Dubois to flip the painful narrative of their first encounter. Warren frames this rematch as Dubois' shot at rewriting British boxing history. It's not just about titles, it's about legacy, redemption, and shaking the foundations of the sport. Warren insists Dubois has matured into a heavyweight capable of greatness. But here's the brutal twist. Redemption comes at a price, and Usyk doesn't hand out second chances. The stakes couldn't be higher. Dubois will need to be flawless for every second of every round. And even then, that might not be enough. The burning question remains, can Dubois survive the...
100%. Daniel Dubois is, like I say, Daniel Dubois is a machine, and I back Daniel Dubois. If he...
mental and physical storm Usyk's about to unleash, or will another dream get crushed under the weight of Usyk's ruthless legacy? Simon Jordan adds fuel of the fire with a bold take, calling this clash a potential era-defining war. Jordan praises Usyk's legendary resume, highlighting his master technician status and his legacy of dismantling giants. But Jordan also shifts the spotlight to Dubois, suggesting that the young juggernaut is finally coming into his prime, physically sharper, mentally tougher, and poised to erupt on boxing's biggest stage. To Jordan, this isn't just another title defense for Usyk, it's a powder keg waiting to explode. He warns that this fight could become something even bigger than any of Usyk's previous tests. As Dubois inches closer to his peak, the excitement grows. With heavyweight glory and history on the line, this isn't just about belts anymore. It's about rewriting the future of the sport. Eddie Hearn tries to sprinkle some hope, but his tone tells the real story. He teases the idea of Dubois pulling off the impossible, but beneath the surface, his words drip with hesitation. Hearn seems to be bracing for disaster, dangling a dream, but already preparing for the nightmare. The facts are clear. Dubois is stepping into the fire without a shield. That crushing loss to Joseph Parker, combined with long spells in activity, has drained Dubois' sharpness. He looks flat, rusty, and a shadow of the wrecking machine fans hope for. Meanwhile, Usyk remains a well-oiled war machine, fresh off dominant wins and laser-focused on adding another scalp to his legacy. Even Amir Khan's half-hearted optimism can't hide the truth. The class difference is glaring, and the clock is ticking fast for Dubois. Anthony Joshua doesn't sugarcoat it either. Speaking from experience, Joshua recognizes that anything can happen in boxing, but he stresses that Usyk isn't a man who relies on just power or speed. He's a technical mastermind who dominates fights with IQ and control. Joshua respects Don Charles's work with Dubois, but warns that Dubois is stepping into a whole new level of psychological and tactical warfare. Alexander Usyk, Usyk's promoter, echoes that warning. Usyk makes it crystal clear. Usyk isn't showing up to play games. He's coming to deliver a masterclass. From his preparation to his mindset, everything is dialed in. This isn't about surviving, it's about proving that there's a massive gap between raw heavyweight power and true ring generalship. Fabio Wardley weighs in, describing Usyk's demeanor as ice-cold and unshakable. According to Wardley, Usyk's greatest strength isn't just his movement or skill, it's his mental control. No flipping tables, no emotional breakdowns, just psychological warfare at its finest. Usyk knows how to manipulate the atmosphere, dictate the energy in the room, and stay razor-sharp under pressure. That composure, Wardley believes, could be the deciding factor when fists start flying. Duke McKenzie wraps it all up with one final thunderclap of confidence in Dubois. McKenzie calls Dubois a machine, full of raw power and relentless work ethic. If Dubois were facing anyone else in the division, McKenzie says he'd back him to win without hesitation. But even McKenzie has to admit the obvious. Usyk isn't just another opponent, he's the ultimate puzzle. The real burning question remains, will Dubois' machine-like determination be enough to defy boxing logic and pull off the upset of the decade? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Can Dubois shock the world, or is Usyk about to remind everyone why he's the pound-for-pound king? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intense boxing insights.